What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a little walk around of this 1987 Cherokee Chief that we recently picked up to build as a trail rig. It looks like we got some gliders out today. Super cool. Sick. Anyway, so today we're going to do a quick walkthrough of this. We recently picked it up, and our goal is to just build kind of like a budget-friendly trail rig slash daily. We're going to be driving this thing back and forth to work every day in the winter. So why don't we do like a quick little rundown of some of the stuff that we've already done to it and some of the work that it's going to need. As you can tell, we got some damage up here at the top. Now, it's not too bad, but definitely something we're going to need to address. Right here in the hood, it kind of crunts down a little bit on the roof, and right here on this little hood piece that kind of runs along the drainage ditch here. And then also on the door, we also have like a little bit of a crunch here we need to fix, and then a little bit here. Now I'm not going to go too crazy because I really just need to make sure that the glass fits in here. We have a new window right now. This is just a plexi window, but we need to come in here and straighten out some of this before we try to get the seal in there straight and put the new window in. So the inside, pretty straightforward, basic cluster. So one giant fuel gauge, and then also we have our speedo. Now this thing does only have 164,000 original miles, which is pretty tight for an 87, and the interior is in decent shape. Obviously the headliner is kind of trash, but our interior, our seats are great. All of our plastics are in really great condition. Door card's a little faded, but the dash is in really good shape, and we were able to clean this steering wheel up pretty well. We are going to probably just do a rewrap on this because I do love the tri-spoke design. You might be wondering, hey, what are those switches for? Well, why don't we hop underneath the hood and I'll show you guys kind of some of the work we've already done. So under the hood here, we have our 4-liter straight 6. Now this is the original drivetrain, so this is an AMC setup on here, the Renux engine, if you will. So it's kind of like the first gen. Now this thing is bone stock. I mean, we still even have our heat shield in here. Now the only things that we've done so far, put a new air filter in it because this one was clogged up. Also went ahead and installed this thicker core WRC rad in here. Now this is a triple fan setup, and right now we have one that triggers with our temp sensor, and then we have 2 that we can manually trigger with our switches. What we're going to actually do is we're going to clean up some of the wiring in here for it. When I did do the install, I just kind of routed some things over here, got them roughly hooked up, ran the switches inside. So I want to clean up some of the wiring over there. When we did our radiator, we also went ahead and did our thermostat and thermostat gasket, both the upper and lower radiator hoses as well. I do have a new coolant reservoir on the way for this thing, and as well as a new water pump still sitting in the parts room. Today when we're in here doing a few things, we're going to swap out this pulley. It finally showed up. I had actually ordered the wrong one originally. The one I'd ordered was grooved, and this is the one I needed, which is a smooth pulley. So no big deal there. Do have like a small valve cover gasket leak, some miscellaneous hoses that need to be redone. But today when we go through this, we're basically going to be redoing a lot of stuff. So I've got a new cap and rotor for this. Also got plugs and wires. I got a whole new silicone hose kit. We're going to go through all the vacuum lines and get those all replaced. I'm also going to be, like I said, replacing this right here. We're going to be cleaning up the wiring for our fans, tucking them down, and actually hooking them up to an existing switch panel that we have on the lower side of the dash here, right there. Now those were already in the Jeep when we picked it up. They were to run some of these lights here in the front, which we'll be removing, but in the back of this thing I've got a bunch of goodies. So let me show you guys this side of the Jeep. It's in really good shape. If you guys want to give me a little insight too, this is our first XJ ever. We had a ZJ for a little while and we mostly just dailied that thing. Had a little lift on it when we got it, but I guess these wheels are kind of harder to find. And I do like that we have little pop outs, but I guess they're not like that in all of them, huh? Somebody told me that the glass only pops out in the later model. So back here, super clean. I see we got a bunch of parts. Do have a 5th spare for those 5 slots, but we have full cap and rotor kit right here. Our spark plugs are in there as well. Got our idler tensioner pulley thing here for the serpentine belt. We have both of our front U joints because they are clicking, and I got 2 brand new wheel hubs for this. Also back there we have greasable ball joints, a fuel filter, and in here we have a bunch of miscellaneous wiring, fittings, vacuum lines, things like that. Then we have ourselves some Deutsch connectors for any connections we need to make. So aside from the stuff that you've seen underneath the hood already, this thing did come with Bilstein shocks on it that are a little bit older and an older lift kit, it looks like. The rear sway bar is gone, and when I got it, the muffler had actually like exploded / imploded on itself, and it wasn't even connected anymore to the cat. So basically we ended up cutting off there, but we're building a full exhaust for this thing. Some of the other work we've done has been front and rear differential fluids along with our T-case service. We're waiting to do the transmission service, even though we have all the parts for it, until the trans cooler lines come in. When we were up under here the other day, I noticed that the transmission cooler line was kind of crushed and flat, so it's not really doing a whole lot. So we have 2 new lines coming up for that, so we're just going to do that whole service all at once. Why don't we go ahead and get this thing into the shop, and I'll kind of give you a breakdown of all of those parts we have in the back, plus some other stuff underneath this thing. Simba, are you excited? Are you excited? Yes. Why are you excited? Ah. Kia, are you excited? Are you excited? Yes, so excited. Oh, yes. Do you know why we're excited? Because there's merch. That's right, guys. We officially have some merch. Very, very limited merch, actually. We have 30 shirts between all of the colors. So there's only a few of each color in each size. These are all going to be our logo here in the front, custom logo, and then our custom logo here in the back, just says Heron and Echo Auto Works. Each one of these first 30 shirts are first edition, and they're numbered 1 through 30 along with their sizes. So we have some smalls, some mediums, some larges, some extra larges, and some 2XLs. Now, I can't guarantee that there's going to be your size in whichever color, but we only have 30 shirts. This is a super limited run. I mean, we've never had merch before. A friend of ours made these up for us, and we are really excited about them. So we've got our gray. Now this is kind of like a lightweight, feels almost just like a Hanes cotton, and so it's got the logo right here, and then on the front here it's got our other logo, and then first edition 15 of 30 that large is. But each one is like that, and they all just say what they are. But cool logos. I think they look great on each of the different colorways. They're all just kind of different a little bit. Blue has got to be one of my favorites now. We did keep a couple shirts for ourselves, so there is actually less than 30 available, but still super cool. Great way to support the channel because we have no sponsors or anything like that. Super small channel, obviously, and we definitely would be very appreciative if people do decide they want to pick these up. Now, we are just going to be selling them for $15 a piece plus whatever the shipping is going to be. So if you guys are interested in one, just hit us up on Instagram or in the comments. We're kind of trying to figure out how we're going to do payments and stuff, but you know, we've got Venmo, we've got PayPal, we could figure something out. So I just wanted to show you guys this merch. Like I said, super limited run. There's like less than 30 shirts already, and they're just cool. Been wearing them in the shop. They're really comfortable. The white one is kind of like a little bit of a heavier weight. The blue one is kind of a mix between the gray lightweight and the white one, so it's kind of like in the middle, and then so is this black one. So really good summertime shirts. You know, just wanted to show them to you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying the video so far, and now back to this video that we're currently on.
Alrighty, so we got all of our parts laid out on the table here. Now hopefully this is everything we're going to be installing today, and I went ahead and brought an extra few things like this gasket set and these upper and lower ball joints in case we do decide we want to go ahead and get those done today. I also brought a vacuum hose kit with me with some fittings. These are our wheel hub assemblies, so the part numbers for you right here. Went ahead and ran these NGKs, nothing too crazy. Figured this would be a good plug for a daily driver. And that's going to go really well with our tri-pack kit, which is our cap, rotor, and plug wires. Now we got both of our U-joints here. Hopefully these will be fairly easy to install. We won't have any problems. Now they do look a little bit different than the ones that we have in there currently, so we will see how that goes. Also have a fuel filter right here. We're going to go ahead and be replacing that today, since I don't know when the last time the fuel filter was done in here. Then there is our idler, pulley, and then just a couple extras. So we're going to go ahead and take a look under the Jeep. So we already have kind of cleaned under here a little bit, but there is definitely some more cleaning to be done. I did also notice, since we have this thing cleaned up a little bit, that we have a leak coming from right there for our trans cooler line. Luckily we have a replacement, and then there's also a leak right there at our steering gearbox. But all of this eventually will be switched out with our lift kit, so I'm not too worried about that. The steering gearbox is the only thing that we really are worried about. Now, I'm hearing a noise coming from this U-joint over here, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that today. And then also, just a couple shots from underneath. We have a upgraded alternator from the previous owner, and we did do our crank pulley, our harmonic balancer recently as well, since the one that was on there had decided to separate. So, pretty decent under here. I mean, it's in the 87, so I don't know how much cleaner it can get. Luckily we don't have a bunch of rust. These are the lift blocks that were on here when we got it, along with these Bilsteins. Now that's the fuel filter we're going to be switching out today, and then you guys can see kind of this red hue under here. It's not rust, it's just like this weird deep clay. So we're going to go ahead and get that pressure washed later. Now we do have a replaced drive shaft at some point, and then right here is where we had to cut it off from where the muffler was, but it's not a huge deal because we're going to be coming back through here and building an exhaust for it hopefully next week. Now we did do our TK service while we were under here, but I'm just really impressed with how clean the underside of the Jeep is. Now we're going to be pressure washing under here, and there are a couple areas like right here that it is just really thin metal, so it definitely needs at least a driver floor pan, but not a huge deal. Everything else under here is looking pretty great. So pretty happy with everything that we're getting into. You know, there's going to be a decent amount of work. We have trans cooler lines coming. I think I might have mentioned that to you guys, but there's a fitting that's just up here that's leaking. So I went ahead and got a replacement one of those as well as both of the transmission cooler lines. Since up here in the front, right after the front axle, it's actually kind of like kinked and crushed in. Yeah, right here you guys can kind of see it a little bit, but yeah, it's crushed in right there, so it's not really doing a whole lot of good for us. So we're just gonna go ahead and switch out the lines completely. I did think about using a rubber hose, but I think our best bet is going to be to just use those hard lines. So it's pretty much the whole underside. Looks pretty clean. We're going to clean it up slowly as we go.
Alright guys, so I knew I had some noise coming from the front end. Don't mind this grease, all this stuff's gonna get done, but up here I had a feeling we had a bad U-joint. So if we go ahead and move this, you can see right here we got a bad set, something, needle bearings in here probably worn, but this is the noise I've been hearing. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and swap this one out. Now the one over here I haven't checked yet. What if we just rotate our tire? I haven't been getting any noise from this one, so this one's probably okay, but we're still probably gonna swap it out anyway since we're gonna be swapping this one out. But this is what you guys want to look for if you're looking for a bad U-joint. I know there's a bunch of videos about it, but I think you'll know because you'll hear a little clicking up in the front, especially when you turn. Mine was all the time, and that definitely makes sense why. So we're gonna go ahead and get this all off and get this axle out. While we're in here, we're also gonna be replacing our hubs, so we won't be putting these old ones back on. All right, so I got the rotor, caliper, and pads off, so now we just have our hub right here. We're gonna take this little lock nut and cotter pin off, and then behind here is the actual axle nut, and then we'll take the bolts off in the back of the hub. But take a look up here. This is why it's important to inspect when you're in here. Anytime you guys are doing anything, take a look. I know this is an older vehicle, and especially on older vehicles, this brake line definitely needs to be replaced. Like, might not burst today or tomorrow, but at some point that thing is gonna break. So we're gonna add brake lines. Even though they were kind of already on our list, we're gonna get some extended stainless steel ones. Looks like I'm gonna order them a little bit earlier than I was expecting. So this is what I got right here. If anybody recognizes this spring, let me know. I am unsure about the lift that is currently on here, but it just looks like a spring, shock in the front. In the back we got blocks. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving forward on this, but I'm definitely gonna go ahead and get some lines in my cart and get them on the way. So now the next thing I'm gonna do is get this axle nut off, and then I'm gonna come behind here. We're gonna take these off. Now I'm gonna go ahead and soak these in some penetrant really quick and let them sit as well as the other side. This way the disassembly will be even easier. Alrighty, so we got it down this far, so the axle is out. Got the hub off as well, and the caliper mounting bracket. So we're gonna go in here also, and we're gonna be getting rid of these ball joints and putting our new ball joints in. Now it does look like somebody was in here fairly recently doing some work, some anti-seize in here. This hub doesn't look super old, but we're still gonna replace it anyway, just because I don't know how old it is. Now, pads and rotors and lines all in the cart ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and get this bolt off and this bolt off right here after we remove those cotter pins, so we can go ahead and drop this hub down and get those ball joints all pressed out. Alrighty, and just like that, new wheel bearing is on, and we have our new U-joint in here. Now, I think I might have messed up and not gotten the correct U-joint. So these are fully seated, but there are no lock tabs. The one that these came with look like these, and unfortunately there's no provision for those. So I think I might have gotten the wrong ones, considering these ones have a small C-clip like this that sits inside here on this little groove. So we're just gonna rock this one U-joint for now until I get some new ones in. Hopefully it doesn't fail. I think it should be just fine in there. If it grenades, well, we'll have another one on order, but I think it'll be okay for now. We're just gonna rock it like this for a little bit. But as you can see, there's no provision here in the back for a clip. There's no room up here in the top for a clip. So we will see how this goes, but everything seems to be spinning okay. We gotta go ahead and torque down our axle nut. Then we're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up, put this all back in. I am also waiting to do my ball joints, just because I have a little surprise coming for the front end. So we're just gonna wait on those ball joints for now. All right, so wheel is back on and we got this all buttoned up. Like I said, we are gonna wait to do the ball joints just until I find out if we are gonna get our little surprise here for the front or not. But since we're all done here, why don't we move to the back and I'll show you guys the fuel filter we swapped out. So back here, our fuel filter is all changed out now. The other one didn't look to be too bad, but I don't know how old it was, so I wanted to go ahead and get it swapped out. Did also go ahead and put a little rubber isolator here just to make sure that this was nice and solid. Went ahead and put the clamps on that were already on here. It did come with some clamps that were provided, like this little squeeze clamp, but I just put this as a backup on the back side here with our other clamp. Now it is pretty hard to mess this up, but you want to make sure the flow is going this way. This side is bigger than this side, so pretty easy to differentiate which way it needs to go. But now that we got that all buttoned up, we're going to go ahead and hop in the engine bay, and we are going to get the tune-up kit all buttoned up. We got plugs, wires, cap, rotor. So why don't we hop up there and get it all knocked out. All right, so under the hood, I already went ahead and pulled all of our spark plugs out, and I just have our leads landed roughly where they need to be. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gap our new spark plugs and put them in, and then we're gonna go ahead and hook up our spark plug wires to them and then land them on our cap where they need to go. So these are the old plugs right here. Not too bad, still had a decent amount left in them probably, but you could tell these are a little older. So we're gonna go ahead and switch them out with these NGKRs. These are just some V-power, so nothing too crazy. So we're gonna get these gapped and get them put in the block. All right, so I got the new rotor in and the new wires and the new plugs. However, my mistake on ordering the cap. Everything else fit perfectly fine, but this cap is designed for the clip style attachment, and unfortunately I didn't check first, but I have a 2-bolt flange on mine, so I must have just gotten the wrong one. Not a big deal. The rotor fits in there perfectly, looked exactly like the one that came out, and I went ahead and cleaned up all the terminal points on there. They didn't look too bad on either end of the cap, so I just cleaned them up, put some dielectric grease on there, and got them all routed. So new plugs are in, new wires are in. I did transfer over this corrugated sheathing just for now, since I don't have anything else to put on it to protect it from rubbing against the AC unit and also from the heat back there in the back. So just a heads up, don't do what I did. Make sure that you verify that your cap style is a clip-on. My map sensor right here runs down to here, but it's supposed to run right there on the side of the throttle body, right here where you see this little nipple poking out. So I'm going to see if I have something that'll work for that. There is a little rubber bung that goes in there and then a hard line meets it, but I think I might be able to put a silicone hose in there and be just fine. Now you can't order that piece anymore, but there is a way to get around this by tapping that hole and using a NPT threaded like spade, where the end of it is just a straight, and then you use a 90-degree adapter to run up there to your map sensor. But I don't have any of that right now, so we're going to see what we can do. We're going to go through and just kind of trace all these vacuum lines and try to clean them up with some good new silicone ones. We want to make sure we don't have any leaks in here. Now this engine bay is gross, so when we're done, we're going to get it all foamed out and let it sit for a minute, and then we're going to clean it up with the pressure washer. Alrighty, so I went ahead and got some of the vacuum lines done. I am actually going to hold off on the ground upgrade side of things, just because I have a new terminal showing up that looks just like this one, and it'll be a lot easier to make our grounds and land them. But we got everything all cleaned up in here, got some vacuum lines all buttoned up, fired this thing up. It is running great. So why don't we go ahead and kick it on, and I'll let you guys hear what it sounds like. So I do got a little bit of an exhaust leak, but I'll get that fixed when we do our intake and exhaust manifold gaskets. But I mean, she's running great, so. Can't complain. Definitely has a little bit of an exhaust leak. But she's running a lot better. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and wire these switches up down here to this switch panel that was already there, but that's not a huge deal. I don't think it's anything that like needs to be filmed, but now that we got this thing up and running, got a lot of that stuff fixed. I also went ahead and kind of cleaned up this track a little for the door. Now the door is still pretty messed up right here especially. So we're gonna have to see what we're gonna do about that, but maybe we'll find a way to bring this down, and then, I don't know, we'll mess with it when we mess with it. But I appreciate everybody watching this little update video. What we're gonna do is go get this thing hosed down with some foam real quick and blast it with a pressure washer. So I'll show you guys what it looks like when we're all done with that. Awesome. And just like that, I went ahead and pressure washed the engine bay, and I did use a little bit of degreaser, sprayed it down, pressure washed it, but man, you can actually see the color of the block. Everything is pretty much cleaned up. Now there is some stuff you're gonna have to take off if you want it to be super clean, like pull this air box, pull a couple other components that are in the way, clean under them, and then put everything back on. But this is just a basic surface wash, so I think it came out pretty great. That's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video. I just wanted to show you guys the Jeep, some of the things that we were doing to it, and then we have a bunch of stuff coming for this thing. I mean, probably way more than we should have ordered at first, but it's cool. Got a lot of goodies for this thing. Really looking forward to building this into something exciting. So I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.